All right, boys and girls, Merengue Dream, here we go. A little word of warning when we talk about our rhyme scheme here. There is no rhyme scheme. This is a free verse with lots of repetition, so really pay attention, love this poem. All right, here we go. Merengue Dream. I turn to the right, I turn to the left, I twirl a circle moon in my merengue dream. I tap to the front, I tap to the back, I shimmy with the stars in my merengue dream. I spin to the east, I spin to the west, I dance across the night in my merengue dream. I open my eyes, I tremble and slide. My knees start to buckle and my dreams subside. So you can see the repetition there, especially with in my merengue dream, in my merengue. That lets us know when Ana Rosa is in her dream and then when she wakes up in that last stanza. How many stanzas are there? Great number. Okay, so we're in the dream and then we wake up at the end. Is she good at merengue? Here we go. Let's read the chapter. In the Repubblica Dominicana, music grows in our blood right from the cradle. That's hyperbole. And dancing bleeds it out in bold colors, reds and purples swirling everywhere. We wake up to the merengue and to go to sleep to sweet salsa. In between we sway and sigh to the melancholy sounds of countryside bachata. All three of those are dances but have songs that fit them. In our neighborhood, wooden houses are set side by side in every color of the rainbow. Our radios are perched like blackbirds on our porches to warn passersby that someone is at home and to pick up your feet. Simile comparing radios to blackbirds. At night, the merengue is loud enough to shake the stars right out of the sky, hyperbole. Here, no one loves to dance more than my Poppy. So here we're going to get a vision of Poppy that maybe we haven't seen before. Merengue, bachata, salsa, all of these dances Poppy can do with such grace that watching him step and spin and glide across the porch makes you think that the music is floating from the air straight to his feet. Twice a month on Guario's paydays, we have small, and again, start playing around with the setting here. Just pay attention because it does move and shake through this chapter. We start, at home on the porch with these fiestas, and then we're going to move to some other locations. Twice a month on Guario's paydays, we have a small fiesta on our porch. Mommy makes a big pot of sancocho. That's like a meat vegetable stew with juicy pieces of pork and chicken and lots of yucca and platanos, bananas, all stirred up in a nice stew. I sit on the floor peeling about 100 chinas, the sweetest oranges ever, to make orange juice. By the time I am finished, I'm surrounded by a pyramid of orange peel that creeps around me in circles up to my neck. Hyperbole. Poppy sets up seats on the porch. Any chair, even a wooden board that could be balanced on 2 cement blocks would do. Poppy sends Roberto down to the Colmado to buy bottles of Bruegel rum and cokes. Then Poppy bathes in the river and comes back looking sparkling clean with a fresh shirt and pants, and his dark curly hair slicked down so fine that you could see the comb's teeth marks in it. By the time the fiesta starts, though, Poppy's hair would be in curls all over his head again, each curl springing up separately, a rebellion of his primary African race over his Spanish bloodline. So he's part Spanish and part African. I loved and hated those fiestas, irony. I loved them because everyone was happy and called me mi amor, linda, and cariño for the rest of the day. It was as if God's angels were hovering low over the island. Simile comparing everyone being happy and telling Ana Rosa all those nice compliments and comparing that to God's angels. On fiesta days, people forgot their roofs and leaked rain and the jobs that were closing down and the tourists that didn't come this year and how much they missed husbands and brothers who worked hard in Nueva York and sent money home by Western Union. On fiesta days, there were no problemas. The reason I hated the fiestas was because I was the only person on this island who couldn't dance. Believe me, I tried. Sometimes I spun the wrong way, sometimes too fast. Sounds like the poem. and almost fell. Sometimes I turned and couldn't find my partner, who was looking for me in another direction. In my dreams, I could dance like a fairy, smooth and beautiful, with dresses that floated around my knees, simile comparing Ana Rosa to a fairy. But on a front porch, I was like a fish washed up on the sand. Simile comparing Ana Rosa to really like beached fish. No matter how hard I flipped and flapped, I wasn't going anywhere. The worst part was that people would say, "But you can't be la hija of Señor Hernandez. He dances like the wind. What is wrong with you?" La hija is the daughter. He dances like the wind is a simile. Instead of dancing, I would hide behind the wooden table, which teetered under the tremendous weight of Mommy's sancocho and our neighbor's pots full of arroz con pollo. I served food to everyone who stopped by. I poured glasses of juice. I changed cassettes in the radio. I held the babies on my lap and sang the songs to them, and I watched to see if I could learn the secret to dancing. I watched closely as Poppy tucked a red hibiscus behind Mommy's ear, that's a flower, and whirled her around and around the porch. Mommy's feet flew in between Poppy's legs, never seeming to touch the porch, hyperbole. They slid then out, then around, then to the left, and to the right, and around in twirls, flying across the porch as if weaving starlight from magical dust. And Poppy, he was a different person completely. He was no longer the loud voice in a porch chair. He was the angel of dance. So this is all imagery. All the senses that are in that last paragraph, in this next paragraph, and then the paragraph after, like keep going with this imagery. Oh, the dancing, the party. Poppy, metaphor, angel, comparing him to an angel. And now he was the blue moon shimmering in the night sky. Another metaphor comparing him to the blue moon. He was is this how we described Poppy in past chapters? He was a laughing, handsome man, almost as handsome as Guario. So she's still comparing him to Guario, and Guario's still... Everyone stared at him as if they couldn't believe that Señor Hernandez was human. And not a star, metaphor to Poppy, that had fallen down and decided to have some fun before ascending back to the sky. So when Poppy's at these parties dancing, he is everything to Ana Rosa. Not quite Guario, but close. He was everything that was mystery and magic, and it was during these fiestas that I loved my Poppy so much that I could see what Mommy saw. A dreamer, not a drinker. A dancer, not a drunk. Then came the night of the fiesta that Poppy stopped in the middle of a song and looked right at me. He held out his hand like a prince, simile comparing Poppy to prince. "Come on, muchacha, dance with your Poppy." Muchacha is girl. I shook my head. My cheeks were hot with shame. The shame filled my body, making my bare toes tingle. Poppy looked at me for a few more moments. I was probably the only person who had ever refused to dance with him. The next morning, Poppy did not sit on his porch chair after breakfast. Instead, he dressed in a nice pair of pants, and he said to me, "Come, Ana Rosa, today you will learn how to dance." "Poppy, I don't like to dance," I mumbled as I washed the dishes. Poppy snorted out loud. "You hear that, God?" he said, looking up at the galvanized roof of our house. Galvanized, they had steel roof. "She doesn't like to dance." Then he looked at me. "Only fools don't love what God gives so freely." It was the first time that Poppy had spoken to me like this. Usually he asked me to bring him a glass or some ice or a plate of food. Sometimes when he was happy with 2 drinks in his belly, he laughed and pulled my ponytail as I walked by. But this morning, he hadn't had any drinks as yet, and he was looking mighty serious as Guario. So there she is comparing him to Guario again. "Put on your shoes, Ana Rosa," Poppy insisted. "We're going to dance." Predictions, what's going to happen? At first, Poppy put on a merengue, but he decided it was too fast. Then he put on other merengues, slower ones, snappier ones, funny ones. None of them worked. My hips switched when they should sway, and my knees bucked in and out like a jerky puppet's, simile. We moved from the front porch to the side yard where no one could see us. "Feel the music, Ana Rosa," said Poppy. "I don't know how, Poppy," I wailed. "It's not a tree or a flower. It's like trying to feel the sea. It keeps slipping away." Foreshadowing. It's like trying to feel the sea. "Then listen to the words," Poppy persisted. "You love words. Listen to and dance to them. It sounded like good advice, but for once I realized that words could not help me. I could not dance to words any easier than I could to the rhythm that seeped so secretly into everyone but me. All morning, Poppy tried to teach me to dance, but the harder he tried, the more my feet tangled with his. "It's no use, Poppy," I said, almost in tears. "Give up, Poppy," said Angela, who was watching us from the kitchen window. "Nunca, never," said Poppy. "She will learn. We just have to find a way for her to feel the music." Then Poppy stopped just so in the middle of the yard, and I almost tripped and fell. "What's the matter?" I asked. "Ana Rosa," whispered Poppy, "do you even like the music?" The look on Poppy's face would have made me laugh if I were not so miserable. "See, Poppy, see," I said. "I love the music." Poppy's shoulders relaxed, and he let out a big sigh. "I almost think you are not Dominican, Cara," he said with a startling smile. I smiled back at him. "Okay, let's take a break. I need to think about this," he said. Poppy went back to the porch, and I went inside to help Mommy and Angela clean up the big mess from the fiesta. The next day, when I got home from school, Poppy was waiting for me on the porch, but there were no bottles or glasses in his hand, and when he said "Hola" to me, there was no smell of rum. "¿Qué pasa?" I asked suspiciously. "Change your clothes, Cara, and let's go." "Where?" I asked. "You'll see," said Poppy. I went inside, and Mommy handed me some shorts, a skirt, and my slippers. "Well, what's a-going on, Mommy?" I asked. "Where's Poppy taking me?" Mommy only smiled and said, "You'll see." As Poppy and I set off down the dirt track, Mommy waved from the porch. Questions swirled around and around in my head, but I yearned that sometimes, no matter how many questions you ask, a grown-up is not going to answer you. You'll see your code words for. It's a surprise, and I don't know why they think that we want to be surprised all the time. I never ever want to surprise anyone. Poppy and I walked along the road until we got to Sasawa Beach. I love the beach, and this one was the most beautiful of all the beaches on our island. It is close to my home, and the sand is glorious white that burns your feet in the middle of a sunny day. The sea is blue imagery, and the water is so clear. All this paragraph that is so clear that you can see everything on the bottom, even when you are up to your neck in water. "We're going to the beach, Poppy?" I asked. He smiled and nodded. "You love the sea, right?" he asked. "Yes, Poppy, I love the sea more than anything else." He nodded. "That's what I thought." I didn't understand, but as soon as I saw the water and the waves, I felt happy the way I always do. When we got to the edge of the water, Poppy stopped and took off his shoes. "Okay, Carino, we're going to feel the music of the sea." I took off my slippers, too, and waded into the water. "No, we're not going in," said Poppy. "Come here." I went over by Poppy and looked at him in a puzzle. "Listen to the sea," said Poppy. "Close your eyes and listen to the sea." I did what he said. It was easy because I do it all the time. I love all the sounds of the sea. It's like a special band playing music all its own, simile, comparing the ocean to a special band. "Do you hear the music, Ana Rosa?" asked Poppy. I nodded. This was no problem at all. I listened to the imagery. I listened to the booming of the waves on the rocks, and I listened to the whisper of the waves that slipped up to the sand. That one, specifically whisper, is personification. And I listened to the swooshing of the wind gliding over the water. This is all imagery. Then Poppy took my hands in his. "Now keep your eyes closed and let's dance," he said. At first I felt funny dancing with my Poppy on the beach, but as I listened to the sea, I began to feel the music in my feet and in my heart and all dancing around me. "Poppy, I'm dancing!" I wanted to shout. As he twirled me in the sand, my hands left his as I turned, and then my hand fell smoothly back into his. My toes slid in and out of the sand, left, then right, then all around. I was a balloon, finally free of its string. Simile comparing Ana Rosa to a free balloon. She can dance. At the end of our dance, the music of the sea went on, and Poppy and I danced until the sun slipped huge and orange onto the edge of the ocean. At the end of our dance, beach vendors who were packed up for the day stopped and clapped for us. Not only did they dance, but they were good. Poppy held out my hand and I bowed. I could not stop giggling as we walked back home. "I can dance," I wanted to tell everyone we passed. When we got home, Mommy was waiting on the porch with 2 glasses of lime juice. Poppy winked at her. Mommy's face turned red, and I laughed. Then Poppy turned on the radio and held out his hand to me. We began to dance, and I slowly felt the merengue beat slipping into my Dominican bones, hyperbole, just the way it is supposed to. Mommy sat on the porch and watched, tapping her foot to the music. Poppy and I danced on as the circle moon filled the sky with light. At that moment, my Poppy was everything I had always wanted him to be. So there we get in the Rosa, learning how to dance from her Poppy, who she was sort of bashing through this whole story, but we find out there's more to him than meets the eye. We're going to stop there. Get your notes down. Go on to the next. You can find them all on my pages. Awesome job today. Peace. Merengue. Din, 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 din. That is really bad. That is really bad. That is not a merengue. That is me doing weird sounds. We'll play some merengue, though. You'll learn what a merengue sounds like. Peace.